Hello and welcome into the Sorare Data Game Week 440 preview. I am Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdino on Sorare, joined today by nobody because there's like nothing going on in this game week. I mean, there's more than nothing. I'll put it that. And actually, there's more than what we thought there was going to be even a few days ago. But it's still, it's just boring. Thanks everyone for coming. SR Monkey first in, Kev Hurd second on the podium, and Paul, who has the perfect response to this. LFG game week preview, GF actual game week, where I have about 2 cards playable. It feels like one of those game weeks where you want to buy cards and then you're just like, ugh, I don't really want to do this. Ollie, Hoodwink, is this Ian? Ian McMillan? All trash this game week. Charlie, on time Dino. Yeah, I was ready to go. Redder Dead 69, what's up? Thanks guys for coming in. It's I actually really appreciate you guys coming in because man, like seriously, there is nothing happening this week. And just pulling up here, there's going to be some questions about this. Yes, the Spanish Super Cup is covered, but because we had no idea it was coming, we had to reach out to Opta to add it to our coverage. Yay, more costs. And so that's why it's not on the site yet. We're basically waiting for Opta to give us access to everything. But it's 2 games this game week. And so we'll talk about them because they're there. But looking at the game week as a whole, we have Turkish Super League, and that's it. And nothing's even that exciting. I hate to put it this way. Obviously, if you've got some Fenerbahce cards, you're excited, even if you have Dusan Tadic, who is just like the most frustrating player on the platform. I cannot believe he still takes penalties. For those who don't have him, he missed another penalty this past weekend. Fener smashed whoever they were playing, didn't get a clean sheet. Yeah, 5-1, Underhead 4 goals, and I don't know if there was an own goal or an error led to goal, what it was, error led to goal. Which is funny. Shout out to Haber, who I literally watched put under on the market last week, and then tried to backtrack. He's like, I think he actually could be pretty good, but he didn't want him. But yeah, Tadic missed a penalty. I believe Szymanski drew it, so it could have been a triple decisive day for Szymanski. But yeah, I think Tadic has missed more penalties. I mean, 5 of 8. Doesn't it seem like that's enough? Where they're like, maybe we should try someone else. I don't know. It seems weird. So yeah, Fener at top. Adana Demirspor, if they even have any more players. Who are they playing? Istanbulspor, who I think just lost to Fener. Yeah, that's a rough stretch. But yeah, and then Galatasaray. And then we got Besiktas further down the list. In fact, they're even under Besiktas. Oh no, they're away. Excuse me. That's it. And then I guess we have the Super Cup, which I don't even know what the matchups are. Super Cup. Madrid derby on Wednesday, Barcelona Osasuna on Thursday. Does anyone know in the chat if like this, not that it obviously it matters, but like what are the lineups going to look like? Are we going to get full-fledged of those guys? And also, did anybody see that cup and think I'm going to demand that Sorare cover it? Like it seems out of nowhere. And I always appreciate the more utility at any cost people. But do we really need this? Is anybody thinking we needed this? And if we didn't have it, we'd be pissed. I don't know. It's a weird one. And I don't know if it makes it better or worse that it's happening in a game week where there are, I don't even know how many games, 10 games, 8 games, 9, whatever they play there. I don't know. It's a weird one. Very weird one to me. Anyway, Ollie Grant says, does 500 all-star rewards seem high to you? I think I'm going to target it given how few games there are. That seems absurdly high. 500? 500. Where am I looking at? There they are. 500 in All-Star Limited. 126 in All-Star Rare. That does seem very high. Let's check out. Do we still do this? Like possible lineups? I don't think we do, actually. So we've got 724 lineups right now. Hoodwink said, I've actually got a limited team of Muslera, Bardacci, Kadioglu, Akturgalu, and Guler. So I've got high hopes. That's like a fake Turkish Super League stack. I love that, actually. The Arda Guler cool pass highlights are going around the internet lately. Let's see. Do I even have 5 players? Nope. So should I buy a player? This show isn't at all about what I should be doing, but I think a lot of people have this situation right now where you're like, man, I have players. I don't have a full lineup. Should I buy players? And generally my thought was no. Is that I used to do this all the time, and now I don't do it really at all, at least on the rare and super rare level. And actually, I don't even think I have a limited lineup to go. Ollie said, I've got a full Trabenspor stack, hoping for solid scores to get cash and a card in All-Star. How far does the cash in All-Star go? How many places? Top 30. So imagine there was no threshold and you could just go top 100. I'm just kidding. Don't do that right now. And Glenn said, I have the Samsonspor keeper, so I hope not. Yeah. Carlos said Guler's not going to start. That's fair. I have no idea. I don't know. We'll see. Kev said, in your case, as you could get a cheap rare defender. But like, I don't want a cheap rare defender from like, what am I going to do it after this? I don't know. So yeah, I think this is where you prove how much you love Sorare when you like start making moves for game weeks like this. Aruj says, should I prioritize, Challenger, Europe Pro, or All-Star Pro? What is Challenger paying out? Because obviously Challenger is the only division we have. Oh my God, we have Champion Europe because of the Super Cups, right? So 56 rare cards in Challenger Europe, 12 in Challenger Rare Plus. I mean, they're giving out the same number of stars in All-Star as they are in Challenger. Obviously, All-Star star could be a champion card. Doesn't have to be a Challenger one like the domestic ones. So that's a good question. Is there a star in... No, there is not. It's a good question. I would probably do All-Star. It just seems like All-Star's a little heavier with the cards. I mean, obviously, it's bottom heavy. Like 110 of the 126 are tier 3s and below. And from what we've seen from the tier 3s recently, I don't know. Not many people are excited about tier 3s recently. I don't know. I think it depends on what you want to win. If you have a super competitive team, then go nuts. Glenn said, I have hit 3 4-man thresholds in a row in Cap 240 rare. And then this past weekend, I finally had a playing goalkeeper and I didn't hit it. Sorry for laughing there. That's funny. Glenn, would you say that maybe thresholds are too easy if you can hit 3 in a row with only 4? Oh, speaking of thresholds, it's the guy who wants to get rid of him. Get him. Let's go to pick scores. What do we got here? Actually, is U23 open? I mean, obviously it's open, but all right. So we've got all the Fenner guys at the top. I'm sorry. Yeah. Szymanski, Tadic, Kadioglu. I'm sure there's a better way to say that. Brad said some tier 3s are still better than tier 2s after they fix them. So, Brad, I'm glad you brought that up because I meant to talk about that sometime last week, probably an off topic. I think there's like a misunderstanding, not a misunderstanding, but people don't appreciate that the tiers are basically just lines across a list. And so, and we've talked about this before on this channel, but there's no difference between like in terms of number of places, there's no difference between like the 10th star card and the 11th star, or not card, player in the pool, and the last tier 3 and the first tier 4. Like it's just one name and the next. And there's just a line, and it's like everyone above this line is tier 3 and everyone below it is tier 4. And so, and because values aren't like, they're not listed in like perfect value order, that you will have situations even within a tier where players below maybe are worth more than a couple players above. And that happens when the tier lists break as well. So you'll have some tier 4s that are worth more than like the bottom tier 3s. And it's just the way that the list is, that if you had a tier 4, you're the top of the tier 4 list, it's possible that they're in tier 3 next week because the list just goes, moves ever so slightly. So the whole like difference, the difference in tiers like that, there's almost like a overreaction to it when they're like, man, I just missed a tier 3 by half a point. And it's like, you could just be one player below on the tier list. Like it's not always going to be drastic. Haber, yes, we're aware that the lineup builder doesn't have the Spanish Super Cup. We don't have it on the matchups page either. We're waiting for Opta to let us pay them more money. But yeah, I don't know if it'll get in there in time or not. But yes, top priority for us, maybe not top priority for Opta. What does U23 look like? Let's just go to goalies. It feels like obviously one of these weeks where if you don't have a goalie, it might still be okay. How many rewards did we say? 41 rare rewards in U23. And we have 2 starting keepers. I don't even know who this guy is. Does this guy even start? Dennis Urtas. Looks like he's going to start. He started last week, got blasted by Galatasaray, and now gets to be blasted against Fenerbahce. Jeez, that's a terrible back-to-back for Konyaspor. Jonathan said, what is the Spanish Super Cup? Is it like the FA Cup? Yes, that's what it is. FA Cup, because it's Spanish. And then we have Emery Bilgin, who also looks like a terrible scorer. Man. And that's it. Those are your U23 goalies for the week. That doesn't look fun at all. But there are 41 rewards up for grabs in U23 rare. How many in limited? 190, including 2 stars. And so, man, that is wild. So, yeah. I think there are going to be plenty of rewards for 4-man U23 lineups this week. Shaforko said, that's the reason why I'm against removing thresholds. So many guys can only do a max of 300 points with their gallery, and threshold is decent comparing to card they would get or not. So I don't really want to get into this in this show, but I think the concept of removing thresholds that people are ignoring is I don't think the plan, I mean, I don't even know if this is the plan, but if they were to get rid of thresholds, I don't think they're getting rid of the amount of money that they're currently distributing and keeping it for themselves. I think they're redistributing it. And so I think the idea is if you put that money into other competitions, people will want to perform better in the other competitions. And performing better means that the better scoring cards are worth more. And that the game kind of moved backwards because players who score 50 or average 50 are actually more desirable than those that average 70. And like, what kind of game is that? Anyway, but that's not here nor there. A quick correction here. Alberico said it's more like the Community Shield. but it's 3 games. Osasuna, did they win the whatever the Spanish Cup, Copa del Rey? I don't even know why they're there, but they're there. Yes, this is correct here. Spanish version of the FA Cup is Copa del Rey. So did Osasuna win the Copa del Rey? That seems wild. Jonathan said, has there actually been anything indicating thresholds will disappear, or is this all speculation? I think it's pure speculation. Other than the fact that Sorare years ago used to say, like, yeah, we'll do thresholds for another 6 months. Don't worry. Like there used to be a thought that they might end. And Sorare had to keep saying, all right, we're going to keep going. What's up, Mike? No mates today, mostly because there are just so few games. There was not much to talk about. Somehow we're 16 minutes in. Nolik said in Spain, they've added the runners up to their Super Cup for some reason. Yeah. I think these games are also in Saudi Arabia, right? They're not actually in Spain. The mailman said, can you put 2 cards of the same player in one team if they're different positions? For example, Kadioglu. No, you cannot. That would be fun, though. Maybe. I don't actually know if that would be fun. He has 3 cards, doesn't he? Doesn't he have forward cards, too? Who's the one who has... Is it Akturgalu? No. Doesn't somebody have 3? He is forward and mid. I know Rio Hatate does. Shout out Celtic. Yeah, 493 defender, 684 midfielder, 171 forward. But they're not playing this week, so let's not confuse anybody. So yeah, U23 looks wide open if you have any of these cards. Like, I wonder if we'll see like 3-player. I mean, obviously it depends on which players you have. But I think if you have like the 3 highest scoring U23 players this game week, you could win a reward with 3. What about Cap 240? Who do we got here? Sanuch going to start? Maybe. He came back off the bench for Besiktas last week. Looks like 88%. I don't know. Mike Basson, don't you do that. Andy Black, when in your opinion, is it smart to buy a card for a game week? What about 2? With game weeks like this, I think a pretty relevant question. I read that as a pretty relevant 0, and I was like, I don't know what that means. So I think it's smart to buy for a game week if you're weeks ahead. I think buying one now is not a good idea. And like we see Victor Nelson, did he just come back? There's no reason for that kind of. So I mean, this is what people are doing. So Victor Nelson is basically the top 100% to start player this game week and has seen like an absurd jump in his limited and rare. And yeah, should that happen? What's this Claudio Wink guy? Same thing, just a blast in price. So I think if you can do this early, it's okay. But I think once you get to a point where the price is already up, it's too late. Brad said you do it before the night before the deadline. So that would be yesterday. It's already too late. But fundamentally, I think a lot of people do this and then they get pissed that the value crashes. And that part is like a misunderstanding of how the game works. Mickey Fu said Nelson also just scored 90 plus, which helps his middle finger. Yeah. For those of you who are unfamiliar, the middle finger is like the price graph that goes up and then down, which this one has not come down yet, but inevitably will after this game week because actually they still keep playing. Yeah, they play this weekend. But did they just never take a break? I guess not. In fact, it even 449. This is for Galatasaray. 449, game week 450, 51, 52, 53. Jeez. Oh, there's the break. 59 to 64, which might be an international break. Yeah, I think if you're buying a card for a game week, like to fill a lineup for a game week, you need to get more utility than one game week. That's how I look at it. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. I have no idea. But I've stopped buying cards for single game weeks. And sometimes you just got to not play a lineup. So there's that. Mickey Fu said, Nelson's not a starter when Davinson Sanchez is back. So he's a perfect example of a FOMO buy. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Like Szymanski. So that's what it is. If you want to buy Szymanski, I get it. Because he'll be great after this. If you're buying Pape Cisse, I don't know. Although that actually looks pretty good. And nobody plays for a Donna Demerspor anymore. Maybe we found one. It's Aber. Ryan, I think if you buy a card for a game week, try to make a card that fits your gallery, not just some random entity. Example, I bought Watanabe for 430, game week 436. Made perfect sense as I have Rofe and JDS already. Won me All-Star. So yeah, I think that's right. I think that makes sense. And so Brad said it's also easier for me to say buy one since I'm still only playing limited. Rare is a riskier investment for a short-term buy. I mean, but there are plenty of people who that risk is the size of your rare risk is the size of their limited risk. And so, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's more fun to play, right? Like it's fun to like buy a card and throw it right in a lineup and see what you can do. But I think it ends up hurting more people than helping. And I also love should I spend $30 on this card for threshold and I'll win 50? And it's like, well, people forget that you had to pay for the 4 other cards in your lineup. And so it's not really spending 30 to make 50. Arush said, I bought Pedro G for this game week. I don't even know who that is. Or maybe it's also for 442. There are not that many games. Maybe it's the current one. Mike said, hold on, is this strategy gambling? No, it's not. No gambling here. Nothing to see here, guys. No gambling. Yeah, so that's the game week. I assume, obviously, when Super Cup comes in and we get some pick scores, let's find out what the odds are for these games. I've never used Bet365. I have no idea why I even came to it, but you got, look at that. I hit football, and because I'm in the US, it gave me soccer. Spain Super Cup. Let's go. All right. So Real Madrid heavily favored, not heavily favored. Barcelona heavily favored. There you go. I also saw that Ferran Torres has moved ahead of João Felix in Xavi's eyes, which is absurd. So maybe João Felix doesn't play. But yeah, Barcelona looks like Barcelona will be the top favorite this game week. Actually, they might be behind Fener. Not much, though. They're up there. So, yeah. Elias said, but without spending the 30, it's impossible to get the 50. That's true. You are true. Yeah, Andy said there are not enough degens. Yeah, I think sometimes it's okay. I think that's okay. Carrie said, anyone ever play the fantasy markets on Bet365? Is it like DFS? I don't even know what that is. Fantasy markets on Bet365, but I imagine they're illegal where I live, excuse me. And so my guess is I would love it and would not be allowed to play. Anyway, got anything else? I really want to keep these previews short. And I feel like I've already gone long for how stupid this game week is. but I don't know. It's kind of having some fun here. Real football returns this weekend. I mean, not to call Turkish Super League not real football, but fuller game weeks. A fuller game week is coming this weekend. So Wednesday's preview will be packed full of, excuse me, packed full of stuff. And so, yeah. Andy said this preview is easy. Own Turkish cards. Yeah. Perfect. Simple as that. So yeah, thanks for everyone for coming. I'll be back later today in, let's see, is that 8 hours, 7 hours, 6 hours? I don't know. A bunch of hours with Sean and Surfula to talk about finding your edge on Sora. I actually really like this this topic because we kind of like it's an interesting strategy thought because we all think we really know something or that we're really good at something. We don't really take advantage of it. And so we're going to try to narrow down and maybe people will become better Sora players because of this. So yeah, thank you, everybody. Please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And good luck on this tiny game week.